Some people have the dumbest checklist on what they want in a partner, and it's hard to find that perfect person for us. So what we do is we try to filter out people by asking superficial questions. We ask what their favorite music is, and if they share the same love of the same band, we hope it means that they have the same value as we do. We ask what their favorite foods are, hoping that if they like the same foods, maybe you guys share the same lifestyle. But these are only superficial things. They don't cover what's necessary to find a soulmate. And a soulmate isn't somebody who's identical to you. That may as well be your clone. And even if it was your clone, you'd still have differences with that clone because you'd argue over who's the more important person. Is it you because you're the original, or is it the clone because they're younger? Which drives home the fact that no two people are exactly alike. And yet, we expect our soulmate to be perfectly aligned with us. And one of the biggest mistakes in any relationship is attacking the other person because they have differences in values. And I know I felt that way in relationships. Whenever there was a difference in values with my previous relationships, I interpreted it as my values were being attacked. So I would close off, shut down, and not communicate with my partner, which we'll talk about more later on. The first essential sign in a soulmate is shared values. You don't have to share all of the same values, but the important ones have to be. They build the foundation of any relationship. If you aren't compatible in these fundamental values, there's already a problem in the relationship. For example, if one person wants to save lives and another person's a terrorist, there's a huge conflict of values there. The person who saves lives sees innocence as valuable. On the other hand, terrorists see innocent lives as collateral damage for their purpose. One of the shortcuts we take in determining somebody's values is finding out their party affiliation. My personal problem with that is that the two-party system is too clearly delineated. Not everybody falls into one party or the other. Instead, you want to clearly communicate with your partner. A question you could ask your partner is, what's the most important things in your life? This helps you clearly understand what are the shared values you could possibly have with your soulmate. The second sign of a soulmate are shared goals. Goals identify the direction you want to head in life. A soulmate will also want to go in the same direction you do. Now, you don't have to share every single goal, but the big ones are critical here. If one partner wants to live as a nomad and travel the world, it's going to be very different from another partner who wants to stay in a localized area with their friends and family. The fundamental life goals and structure are very different in these two. Your soulmate will want to share the same goals as you do. You can ask your partner, what do you want to do with your life? This helps clarify any ambiguity in the goals that each of you have. The third sign of a soulmate are shared activities outside of the home. A soulmate isn't just somebody you connect with, but it's a friend that you enjoy spending time with. But as we get older, we tend to settle into our habits and stay indoors. We forget that having a soulmate means having a friend also. And that means having shared activities together. Again, you don't have to share all your activities together, but at least you have to share one activity outside the bedroom. You can't hate each other outside the house all the time, which is why it's so important that couples have specific date nights that they share with each other. And they have to schedule it on a regular basis. That's where the effort comes in to having shared activities together. And if you don't know, you could ask your partner, what's something we could do that's fun together outside the home? The fourth sign of a soulmate is shared family view. And we touched upon it earlier. Family structure is a lifestyle decision that drastically affects both of you. If one partner wants to have kids and the other partner doesn't, then the decisions about family severely affect how you guys interact. It's a critical question that you have to ask your partner. How do they view family structure in the future? And if you don't share that view, it might not be your soulmate. The fifth sign of a soulmate is how they view conflict resolution. The lack of conflict resolution means that these problems will continue to show up in a relationship. In my previous relationships, I would shut down. I wouldn't communicate with problems because I didn't know how to handle it. As a result, I end up losing out on those relationships. And I don't want that happening to you. Conflict resolution means facing the situation talking about the problem and trying to find solutions. It takes work. It's not easy. Nothing in life worth having is easy. I wish I would have known this a lot sooner. It's like having a flat tire. You're not gonna go very far with a flat tire until you fix the problem. And it's not a complicated issue. You just have to change the tire. Yet, a lot of us just want to run away instead of solving these problems, which all ties up to the sixth sign of a soulmate, which is communicating needs and feelings. Communication is absolutely critical because we're not mind readers. And even if we were mind readers, there will be occasional differences, in which case we need to communicate with each other to resolve these differences. The problem here is that communication of our needs requires a lot of introspection. We have to look at ourselves and know what we want out of life. And people haven't reached that point yet. In fact, most people don't know what they want or need. And that's the problem with a lot of relationships, is because we go in blind, hoping the other person will provide us with what we want or need. You want to take a step in the right direction, you got to ask your partner, how can I know what to do to support you? And if your partner doesn't understand that question, they might not be your soulmate. All of these tie into the seventh sign of a soulmate, is that they understand relationships of any kind take work. Like I said before, anything worth having takes work. And I talk more in depth about it in this video about how to be certain about your partner. You wouldn't expect at the stroke of midnight on New Year's Eve that someone wants to lose weight instantly will become a fitness model by January 2nd. And yet, we expect that same thing about personal growth. We tell our partner we want something out of a relationship. And if they didn't change overnight, we think they disregarded our opinion. We don't reward people for the slow growth. There's also the other side of the spectrum, where someone will change completely overnight, only to revert back to who they originally were a few days later. They did it to show that they were capable of change, only to perform it for a few days and run out of steam. So how do we know if our partner is our soulmate and they understand that relationships take work? Well, you take a step back and approach it as if it was fitness. Does this person put in time and schedule their workout on a regular basis? Now let's apply that to personal growth. Do they take the time for personal introspection? Do they find their weaknesses and try to strengthen them? Now the follow-up question maybe is, how do we know they're doing this for the long run, instead of giving up in February like every other New Year's resolution? One way of looking at it is with the book 12-Week Year. Instead of expecting every new year to be the bookend of a new life, we should approach every 12 weeks as if it's a new year, because time isn't an actual construct. If we looked at every 12 weeks as a new year, we could approach our goals faster, because what ends up happening is that periodically you'll reevaluate your goals and see that if you've fallen off or failed, you can jump right back on that horse. So if you want to be happier and live a full and healthy life, you want to control your emotions like anger. If you want the exercises that are useful in controlling those early stages of anger, check out the 10-day challenge, where I provide you with 10 years of knowledge and exercises on how to control those early stages so that you don't end up escalating your anger to rage. It's absolutely free, and you can check it out at drtankpharmd.com in the link down below. I'm Dr. Until next time, guys, never give up on yourself.